A very good morning and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And we are looking at Prophet Walter Magaya. He commented something interesting on say weekend Chivhayo. And this is something which we need to take a look upon and then we talk about this later.
Ya weekend. Akatanga hapa muno motikari 1. Vanhu vakati asazonyanya. Akapa wechi 2. Vanhu vakati okay. Akanopa wechi 3 zvikanzi ari kupa. Akapa wechi 4, akapa wechi 5, apa zvikapa wechi 40. Ezvo munhu esanyarira kuti zii. Udza neighbor kuti favor. Yakakunhonga favor. Utase unodada. Utase uri kuonererwa so. Unonzwa vemapepa vakunyora kuti akambosungwa akambole kana favor yakubata hazvina basa izvo. Basa favor inochenesa munhu. Favor inochenesa munhu, inogadzirisa munhu.
So this is what Prophet Magaya had to say. And we have to ask this question, is Chivhayo favored by God? So that we get to understand what is really happening. You know, we now have a situation where everybody claims Marwandi Batsira, Marwazoita. So, you know, to me, it's just hogwash when everything you are doing is based on your proximity to political power. So you cannot put in God to things you are doing on your own. Okay, let us go to his reference. Number one, he's talking about Chivhayo, giving him as a reference to being located in a favor. Number two, he's using the example of himself and Chivhayo being arrested. Kuti favor inabasa noto akambosungwa kana twakaita sei. And is he trying to tell the people of Zimbabwe that because Chivhayo has been arrested before and now he's dishing out cars, is very, very close to those in power, is he telling us that that is how God operates? So we are not coming here to actually judge, but we need to understand something. Is Chivhayo favored by God, or Chivhayo is favored by politicians who are ungodly? That is something which is very, very important. So other people say Chivhayo is favored by God because of the access he does have to big money. His survival through scandals without legal consequences. You know, when you're pointing out those things to God, then what will you say to people who do not even know God, who does not even mention the word God but they are way richer than Manachiva? What do you say to people who doesn't believe in this God, who believe in other things, and other traditions and religions, who are so rich? What do you say about those people? So portraying a religious stance does not mean one is favored by God. So somebody can say it's God, while it's not God. Why? It's because when you read the Bible, there is God, there are gods. They are referred to as gods because somebody will say chimari changu, chimari changu, chimari changu. Put them together, they become gods. And then you might actually understand kuti umwe munhu ari kuti ndakafevhwa naMwari, not Mwari watiri kuziva, but Mwari wake waari kunamata behind closed doors. So that must be understood. Saka, when you go across Africa, let us talk about things like wealth, survival, favor. You know, those two things are attributed to the doings of God. But personally, I beg to differ because I don't believe that you need to measure your success on how you pray or on how religious you are. And you cannot measure your success that way. Bible not already simbe nda kumujuru. Go and observe how termites work. What it means is you might be too religious, too godly, and you might even walk with God, but with nothing. Why? It's because there are principles of making money. There are principles of becoming wealthy. So if you don't follow those principles, then you are lost even if matter. That is the reason why it's either Ukuba or Dukushanda. Either way, you make money. Kuba and Kushanda, but with the different consequences altogether. So when we are to look at who is favoring Chivhayo, personally, I believe and I feel that politicians are favoring Chivhayo more than what God actually is doing. Why? It's because he's settling the contracts without following due procedure. There is nothing godly from a contract accord. He's getting protection from very powerful political figures. Why? It's because he's their runner. He's a tool which is being used to clean money and to do their errands. So he's a man with access to institutions which ordinary people cannot reach. So ordinarily, you can actually see that because of his proximity to power, he's actually influencing big offices simply because he's one of them, not because he's favored by God or any other thing. So where others are facing prosecution, he's actually operating there with impunity. There is no God who operates like that. In my own understanding, in my own view, there is no God who understands like who operates like that. So when Walter Magaya is bringing this whole issue of saying Chivhayo allocate to a favor, Chivhayo this, Chivhayo that, the man is missing a point that it's not about how Chivhayo is connected to God. It's about how he is connected to political individuals. Even the church leaders, they are not being arrested not because of their proximity to God, but their proximity to politicians and their ability to pay off like Badaramchero who are political figures. So it's something else. Okay, people like Chivhayo, they are favored by politicians because they are what we call financial fixers. They run around, they are runners. They deal with impunity, with issues of money laundering, money chagadaro, tax evasion, and everything else. They are experts. In the past, we had people like Wana Genius. They were very, very instrumental. They move money discreetly, which means they can move money, which is so difficult to trace. They do underhand dealings. And also, these are the people who then become financiers of political or factional projects. Like what we are seeing, what they are doing right now. That is their role. That is the reason why they are loved and wanted by politicians, and they are put in the briefcases of politicians so that they do the dirty work. They become shadow ministers and shadow government officials. So what happens is, when you see Chivhayo being bashed left, right, and center, being bashed left, right, and center, the same. It's Mnangagwa who are supposed to be taking all those blows, but these have become protective jackets of politicians. So you cannot tell us that it's favor when somebody is being used as a political jacket, politicians. So there is a danger which Magaya does not understand. When Magaya is praising Chivhayo, he's normalizing corruption. He's silencing accountability. Everybody wants things to be done with accountability. Is being silenced. He's manipulating his religious followers. Yes, there is great manipulation which is happening there. And poverty becomes spiritual failure. I have seen people who are so spiritual, too spiritual, too prayerful. You feel that my foundations are being shaken, but they are poor. Why? It's because the principles of making money are not religious. In as much as God gives you the spiritual ability to overcome certain things or certain realms, there are principles which you need to follow for you to be able to make it. That is, you have to work. Ukasashanda hazvishande. So this is the reason why our countries, especially in Africa, they've been rendered useless, because vanhu vari kuenda kuchechi believes kuti kuenda kuchechi kuchavaitisa mari. Vari kufunga kuti vakabvisa tithe vachaita mari nekubhadhara tithe. Whereas tithe iri kufanira kubhadharwa so that the work of God continues. If you read the scriptures very well, for those who follow the issues of tithe or the law of tithing, it's about to make sure that the work of God continues and varombo vanowanawo chekudya nechekubata. That must be the idea, not to make you rich. But when tithing is now being done to make you rich, it's not a problem. It's not a problem, because unobhadhara chegumi uenda kumba unorara. At the end of the day, hauna mari yawaita. And you start to say, saka mwari wacho anoshanda chii, mwari wacho haabatsire. Why? It's because you are dodging the principles of making money. And Magaya is actually and literally misleading his followers. And these people, they continue to be hoodwinked, because they will continue to think kuti uite mari, unge wabatwa musoro napapa, kuti uite mari, unge papa vaita A, B, C, D. Of which, that is the wrong principle. So, in Zimbabwe, what you have to understand is, source of favor is your political networks. If you have political networks, une favor amayam. I'm telling you the truth. If you don't have political networks, you don't have favor. Awite mari. That is the honest truth. Why? It's because paurufana no processor warimwe bepa so easy. Ashikwanisike because unowa unoziva una connection yawina. Those with connections, they make it look like it's so easy and it's so simple, and they continue to drive luxurious cars. And then the kind of protection you get institutional and factional protection. That is what Chivhayo are doing. You go to Zach, you better or Chivhayo and Mosha. You go to the police cannot arrest Chivhayo because he's a high profile person. Parufana kwane authorization from the highest offices or then they frame everything religiously. Everything mwari wababa Johani, mwari waningi zvikazodai, but hakuna here kwababa Johani wacho vari kutambura variko, vanotonamata kupfuura vana Chivhayo variko, vanotoprofita nekunzwa Mwari variko. Why is it that they are poor? That is a very important question. Then we have things which we need to understand is zvinhu izvi zvese zviri temporary. Favor haigozosangana newe temporarily. Favor yaMwari kana yauya. It's not a temporary thing. So you have to understand that. So you look at the story of Job. The story of Job, it was a test. So they'll come and try to tell you, hey, Job wakambodona, Job wakazoita sei. It was a test from God. Satan ndiye akatoenda kuna Mwari and asked to test Job. So you cannot give us that reference ekuti atarisai Job wakazodai. No, you can't. Okay, look at the story of Solomon. Solomon asked for wisdom, and that wisdom ndo yakaita kuti understand the principles of being wealthy. Saka, that is the reason why you see the Bible says seek knowledge. Once you seek knowledge, once you have knowledge, you now have the ability and the capability to go far because you understand these principles. So understanding the principles of making money is knowledge itself. So that is something which is very important and a lot of people are missing. A lot of us, they lack even wisdom. Wisdom will tell you, wisdom. So if you don't have wisdom, that is that. So what we can do is, religious language is too powerful in Zimbabwe. That is the reason why you see even the days of Grace Mugabe aiunganidza apostle achiunganidza vanhu vechurch so that their agenda sails smoothly. Right now it's happening kune vakatobatwa through madzibaba so that the religious agenda becomes successful. You go to the churches, vana Ubet, Makandiwa, vana Magaya, everybody is bidding around the ruling party. Yet macongregants avo vanoramba vachingotambura vachingonzi zvichaita bhisai chegumi, zvichaita bhisai chegumi. and they continue to do so. And the religious organization leaders, they continue to make money out of everything, and the people continue to suffer. So I think that must be understood by a lot of people, kuti ndo zvazvitori and ndo zvazviri. So to me, my own conclusion is Mr. Magaya has lost. Hapana chamwari chiri kuuya kuna vachivhayo. So that praising and worshipping of Whitmel Chivhayo by Magaya, to me, I believe that he is trying by all means possible to be a man, or to appear as a man who understands kuti vachivhayo vakaropafadzwa naMwari, ndosaka zvinhu zvakadai zvichiitika. And remember, ukafadza chivhayo wafadza mukuru wenyika. Ukafadza mukuru wenyika, nyaya dzako kumatare dzimhosva dzarova, dzaparara, dzapera. It has been proven nana Mike Chimombe nana Moses Mpofu kuti ukatsamwisa chivhayo, chii chinoitika kwauri? You get 20 years in jail, in prison. So this whole present worship thing iri kuitwa na Mdara Wale, to me, I feel that it's a matter of trying to downplay the issues dzine chekuita nekusungwa kwavo nemhosva dzavari kunge vachipomerwa. Because if convicted, mukuru achaenda for a very, very long time, and he can't take the chances. So the only way is to bootleg, praise and worship Chivhayo. And also the issue say it's a matter of trying to downplay everything. But to me, I always say, ZANU-PF is enjoying. Ukaona vatanga newe, zvakuti vanogona kusvika newe kure. The example is clear. Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, they are clear examples of how far ZANU-PF can go to actually destroy you if they want to. So this is it, your views and your thoughts.